Hello everyone, welcome to my video on how to get started with programming languages. Programming languages are in demand for every individual to study and excel themselves in their career. As you know, there are thousands and thousands of programming languages which are currently being developed or being developed in the past and being successfully used throughout the years in technology as well as automation. So this video is specially for beginners who are really interested in programming and don't know where to start, and they are in a dilemma or searching for resources on where to start with programming and what are the basics of programming and what are the types of languages we do have in our technology and what is actually it is. So I am going to explain everything in this video, so please be patient and listen to my entire video so that you can get some knowledge from this video. This video is all about beginners who don't have any coding knowledge or any programming language. I am going to explain you everything from scratch, so please be patient and watch my entire video. Hello guys, in this video I am going to demonstrate some basic concept which is being used and currently are in demand for competitive programming and all beginner level programming. These are supportive to all software companies, and all development has been done and are being done in software companies right now. So let's get started. As I said, there are thousands and thousands of programming languages. I am going to share some of the important languages. There is nothing special languages, like from thousand there is nothing special, everything are programming languages, but the way and purpose which is used for software development is different. There might be thousands of languages. I would suggest you to learn one language to an expert level. Prefer one language and learn it to advanced until you reach the highest peak point of covering every knowledge and every concepts of one programming languages. So first let's get started with C language. As you could see, I have used an online GDB compiler. You don't have to download anything for learning programming. If you don't have supportive laptop, you can just use an online compiler called online GDB, which is available in Google. You can just simply go on and type it in that. I will be giving the link in the description. Please have a look at it and get started. This is one of the best compiler which I have been used for the past 2 years. So let's get started with C programming. So basically here you could see this is the compiler. This is the output screen where you can give some input. If this is the run button where you can run the entire program which you code over here. And so this is basically the command. This is actually the command given for multiple lines in C languages. You don't have to worry that why this is so much huge and all. It is simply given as a command for the user to understand what the following command is used for and what this compiler is pretending to tell you. So basically let's get started with C language. First I am going to explain C. You can, if you want to navigate to any other languages, you can just simply click languages over here, this drop down, and you can navigate to other programming languages here. If you want Python, you have Python here. If you want Java, you have Java here. If you want other, so many languages has been inbuilt in this. So this is why I like the most. As an online compiler, I prefer this the most. So so basically this is C language. Everything needs a header. So we are initiating the program with a header called hashtag include. This std.io is standard input output. Okay, standard input output. Std is the abbreviated form for standard. I stands for input and O stands for output. Here h is an extension for header file. So this initiates the program, and this integer main tells the compiler that okay, we are going to start coding. We are the actual C program is going to enter, we have to start reading it from here. It is an entry point of C language, and this curly parenthesis represents your code. This entire program, whatever you type in this parenthesis, will be read by the entire compiler and you will be getting the desired output. For example, as a beginner level, I am going to implement a string which has some statements in it. You can print whatever statements you want using the syntax printf. In this printf is the keyword for strings. You can print whatever strings as you like using printf functions. There are various functions or keywords, there are variables, there are lot much operators, arithmetic operators are there, logical, regional, lot of operators are there. You can just have a quick look. I am just going to give a basic knowledge about it. If you want to learn more advanced, I will be giving you each link for resources in my description. Please have a look at it and get started with that. Okay, so I have used printf for printing a string in C language. Printf is the keyword for printing any string. You can print any string with this printf operation. For example, I am going to use printf of hi, welcome to programming languages. So in C language, whatever string you are implementing must be written in double quotation or a single quotation. It must be it must be written inside a parenthesis and double quotation within it. And at the end, you must have a semicolon to end the keyword, because in C there are particular syntax format. As I told you in the beginning, every programming language has syntax and semantics. Syntax is the format on how a program is scripted. Semantics is the meaning on what the program understands, the way you convey with that. So let's run this program and see what this particular program gives you. Here you can see the output. See, you could see that the string hi, welcome to programming languages has been printed. This return 0. However, return 0 in the sense this entire program must return a value. Whatever the program you type in here must return a value. If you type in return 0, it means that this program has successfully executed and it is ready for the output, and the program has been finished with an exit code 0. If you want to finish your compile, just click on enter and you will be done with the program, and you can just type on the next following statements in here. Okay, now let's have a look at C++ language. Okay, so basically C++ language is an advanced language evolved from C. In this you might quite have difficulties with getting started, but for beginners I don't suggest this course, I don't suggest this language to get started. If you really wanted to get started, I suggest you to go for C or Python, because those are basic scripted languages which can be used and which simple and robust for every software developer to learn these languages to at least intermediate level. Okay, they can be used for competitive languages as well. And so let's, like the same way like how you did in C language, in C++ you must include the library which is called input output stream. In this you use standard input output dot header. In this you might be using input output stream and using namespace standard. Namespace standard is nothing but the standard is the abbreviated std is the abbreviated form for standard. Namespace, using namespace you are going to implement this standard and nothing else. Everywhere you can't put standard, so you use standard at the beginning and give your variables and all the data in this parenthesis, in this curly parenthesis. So as you know, integer main is the beginning of the program and it only reads whatever is inside this parenthesis. So like how you didn't see in C++, the keyword for printing out a string is cout. Okay, cout is the keyword for printing output for a string. This this arrow marks this lesser than symbols. This lesser than symbols is pushing these strings to give output as these strings. As you know, C and C++ both requires semicolon for completing the format or syntax for printing out a string. As and as I said, in C, return 0 returns the value with exit code 0. Let's run this program and see what might be the output. Hello world. Yeah, you got it, hello world. Similarly, you can print hello Jupiter. Let's run this program. It is just print hello Jupiter. This is a basic program in C++, how you can print a string. And let's move on to Java. So this is basically Java language. As you know, Java is one of a developing language which is being used for the past 20 years, and it is an ancient language as well. Java has a unique semantics and syntax which you might feel difficult to get started, but if you have determination to get started with this, you can obviously do a lot of things with Java, and you can obviously do a lot of projects. There are several projects using Java, and you can have a look at that too after learning to an advanced level. So basically, you must declare a class for Java, and inside the curly parenthesis you must have public static void main string of args. This is the basic syntax for Java. There is no other go. You might have to use this in all the programs. These are the keywords which tells that Java is going to enter inside this curly parenthesis. Java. This is the entry point of Java. You can change this args to my string args or whatever you want. This is just a variable given, but these are the main keywords which tells this compiler where Java is getting started. So in, as we know, in C++ we used cout as the keyword for printing out a string. In Java, the keyword for printing out a string is system.out.println parenthesis. Inside you must print your desired string in these parentheses. So this is how the function looks. And if you want to print a string, you might have to give that in in quotation marks and print out the desired string you want. Hello Saturn. Let's run this and check out. Likewise, in Java, you might also use semicolon to end this in Java, as well as in C++, as well as in C. All these languages require a semicolon. You have to first focus on the syntax, on how various languages are built and what are the formats and how the compiler reads each language. And next, let me go to Python. Python is one of the latest evolved language developed by Guido van Rossum. There is nothing huge story behind the name Python. When Guido van Rossum was developing this kind of language, he used to study a comic or else a series called Monty Python. Monty Python. So he is very fond of it and he loves that too. In two simple words, in 1970 he named it as Python because Python is simple, robust and easy to understand for the users, and to develop all kinds of tools required for this technical purposes. So you felt pretty difficult in C, C++ and Java to execute a single string, whereas in Python you can see that you can see that there is only a single line of code. Python is a scripting language, so you don't have to include any libraries, you don't have to include all standard input output streams and all. You can just start with scripting. Python is readable, easy, robust, and easy to understand as well. So you can see some large text over here as soon as you click that. So these are basically nothing but commands. Commands are basically used to uh, explain something to the user who is coming and reading this command prompt. Okay, so this is not going to affect our program. If you don't like it, you can just exit out with that, but commands are necessary if you're doing a large code so that you can understand what is going on with this code. So in Python, for printing out a string, you just the keyword for printing out a string is print. This is a simple string keyword which is used in Python. Inside this, you just have to use a double quotation and tell hello everyone, and you don't have to use semicolon even. It is so simple, robust, and see here you can see the output for that. Hello everyone. Execute it automatically tells you that program finished with an execute code 0. You don't have to type anything, return 0 or else anything. You don't have to declare integer main and so on. Look how simple it is. Python, you can even do lot of arithmetic operators using single statement. For example, you can even print 5 plus 2 over here. It just adds up and give you the value. See how simple it is. Whereas in C, you might have to follow up some particular instructions, go upon with that. I will just show you a demonstration on how C functions with that. Let's declare an integer of a. Integer is the keyword used to declare an integer. A is the variable and 2 is the number stored in the integer a. And let's store another integer in b, in the variable b, and store the value as 3. And if you want the C as a plus b, let's print C here. Oh, maybe the command failed. Oh, sorry, I forgot the statement. Like it's printf of. Sorry. Let me just. I think I did a mistake. I also want to tell you one important keynote that you must notice in this is that Python is case sensitive. Python is a case sensitive. Okay, Python is very case sensitive. You must have to make sure that all the variables you use are in uppercase or in lowercase while processing with the code. Okay, let me introduce to web development language called HTML. You might have came across the term called HTML and CSS during your schoolhood itself. HTML is nothing but developing language, front-end development language, which is generally used for developing the front end for any websites, e-commerce website, or it might be any websites being used. Basically in web development you might it is necessary for you to learn HTML, CSS, cascaded style sheets, and JavaScript. You might need to know all these three languages in order to become a front-end developer. So basically HTML language is kind of a sandwich based language. Sandwich based in the sense, if there is an initial tag, you might have to use an end tag as well. Like how if you have you have a sandwich wherein you'll be having two bun pieces cut over in the top as well as in the bottom. So likewise you might have a tag, initial tag and an end tag. Okay, So basically you must have to initiate this HTML using a doc type HTML, which declares that we are going to write an HTML code in the following, and you should start with a tag called HTML, and closing tags must be written inside this code, this symbols, and a forward slash in front of HTML. Okay, so and header. So header is nothing but the header files which you might want to include. You can include CSS, you can include CSS files, you can include style files in it, you can include various languages or images which you want to keep it in your head, I mean in the head portion of the development page. And everything you need inside this body must be written in body tags, like I have written here. This is heading, so this is called heading. Header in the sense that whichever you want to make the things act according to the heading, whichever things you type inside the body, and the instructions will be given from the head. The instructions will be given from the head because the head is the thing which demands or give commands everything which exists in the body. So inside the body you can type in your code and see how you're, so there is nothing. So we haven't typed anything inside here, just because these are just tags and we haven't initiated anything to write. So I am going to write something inside my page, inside the body parenthesis, and see what the output is looking like. H1 is used for the heading 1. So let me just open and close the tags of H1, and I am going to write some things, like write a string hi. Let's just type welcome, and let's see the output. See, we could see that hi welcome is being printed. The H1, what is the difference between why do we use H1? Now you could understand that we use H1 to different. It is H is a kind of a heading keyword which we use for heading purposes. H1 denotes the size and the priority of the heading, whereas in H2 I will just demonstrate and show you what becomes when H1 and H2 is typed. You could see the difference. When H1 is used, the font size of the hi welcome is bigger than the font size of the H2 parenthesis hi welcome is smaller, because the priority of H1 is higher than H2. So that is why these are varied from H1 and H2. There are many number of tags which you can use. You can get started with HTML in W3 School, which is very amazing and very suitable for beginners to get started. It even gives you examples with all the tags, all the necessary resources which you require to become a successful web developer. In if you want to write some paragraph, there is a unique tag called p in that, and in that you can type any abbreviation, I mean any paragraph you want. This is my web page. Let me just type in this is my web page, and you could see that this forms as a paragraph, and you can type how much ever paragraph you need. Everything comes in this paragraph. Heading are just used for heading purposes, and paragraph are used to describe everything. Likewise you can do a lot of things in this. Building a website is not a simple thing, but you must know all the languages necessary to build an entire website. You have two segments in that: front-end developers and back-end developers. Front-end developers do web design and the orientation on how a website is structured in whatever gadget you use, whereas in backend they they are responsible for functionality, testing purposes, and all the developing stuff inside the particular website. And what are the background checks, what are all is anybody's what are all the testing is being held, everything will be handled by backend. There are various languages for backend all as well. And there are pretty languages which you might be knowing. This is just a beginner level class, and I want you to get started with coding as soon as possible, because without programming languages, you uh, you might feel difficult to start your career in software as well as in technical group as well. So it is very much necessary for you to get started. I wish you all the best with I wish you all the best with your career, and I will be giving you all the links in my description to get started and where to receive those resources, which is the good source of resources which I can get started. Please have a look at that, and I will meet you in my next video. Yeah, hopefully I hope this was a beginner level class, and I hope that it is useful for you, and please make it beneficial. I will meet you in my next video. So until then, take care and have a uh, great learning.